Greetings, family. We are live. Yes, it's Wisdom Wednesday. So that means it's another edition of the Sista Shanice show. So I want to thank you all so much in advance for joining me for today's presentation. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be bombastic. It's going to be absolutely awesome because we have a great speaker in the house tonight. You know how we do here on the Sista Shanice Show channel. This is the channel that brings you scholars, historians, archaeologists, scientists, linguists, Pan-Africanists, educationalists, culturalists, and so much more. We have really insightful educational programs. It's all about raising our level of consciousness and awareness of who we are as a people, what we have accomplished over time, from when we've been here, hundreds of thousands of years, some say even millions of years that we've been here as Africans. But as we know, a lot of our history has been whitewashed. It has been smashed as all the evidence of our greatness, well, not all, but a significant amount of the evidence of our greatness smashed to smithereens. And here we are during these times, most of us, totally unaware of our greatness, totally unaware of the extent to which we have just accomplished so much in this realm. But, we're learning here together. We're on this journey together. I want to welcome you as you come through the door. I want to lift you up and certainly hope that you will be elevated higher than you were when you came in from when you joined us. So, on this channel, we try and keep it real. We delve deep into our history. We have scholars who come with some deep analytical perspectives on issues because, we're having to peel back the layers of misinformation, get to the rurality of the situation, and then, analyze the information and bring it to you, the people, and then you chew it up, chop it up, and give it back to us as news, information, reviews, knowledge. You go out, you do your research, you add your wisdom, you add your findings to it, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, it's a wonderful mission that we have been on the Sista Shanice show. It was originally intended to be just 6 strong, some say weak, we say strong. So it was going to be a series of 6 shows, 1 per strong, and it's just been going on for well over 2 years now, and I'm still loving it, and I certainly hope that you are too. So if you are, please kindly spread the word, let the family know that we are live. Drop me a message in the chat. Let me know that you are there. Rise up, KZ, first one. Oh, no, I was going to say you're the first to drop a note in the chat, but you were beaten by Don't Travel Abroad. Welcome, beautiful Queen Baguette. How you doing? Yes, Rising, Black First family, absolutely. One thing about, Black, I know it's a lot of controversy about the use of the word Black, but what I can say about the word Black is that if you say someone's a Black person, there's no dispute, there's no ambiguity. We all know who we are. And whether we are here in the UK or whether we're on the continent or Brazil or Australia, wherever we are, once we know that we are Black, we're part of a wonderful, beautiful, melanated family. So be one, Black first. KZ, we rise you up. Amin man, welcome. Angie, welcome. Sending us greetings from Texas. We got Texas in the house. Awesome. Lance, we rise you up. KZ is watching us from Uganda. We've got Uganda in the house. Oh, absolutely fantastic. We've got Lance from the USA in the house. We've got Gebra in the house as well. Absolutely fantastic to have you all in the house. Who else we got? We got Sister Vanna in the house from Phenomenal Women's. Rise up. We've got Mundele in the house saying Yenge MP Impimpa Kiambote. Good evening back at you, Yenge Mimpimpa Kiambote. It has such a beautiful meaning, the greetings. This is a Congolese language, and the Congolese greetings, which is such a beautiful language. It probably means something like, I come in peace. Greetings, I come in peace. Peace be unto you. Oh, so beautiful. RB, welcome, welcome. He's in the house from Barbados. He said, greetings, just come back from Barbados a couple of hours ago. How was Barbados? I love that island. It's beautiful. Mr. K, welcome, welcome from South London. So yeah, please do put the word out. Let everyone know that you're in the house. We've got our brother Ldr Mbandaka backstage. I'm hoping that he's ready now. And I'll be bringing him forward just in a very short while. He's setting up his presentation, because you know when he comes, he has always, those of you who have, been following this series, you will be familiar with our brother Ldr Mbandaka, our outstanding member of our community. And he always comes with a powerful presentation, packed with knowledge and information from a Pan-Africanist perspective. And, you know, this month here in the UK has been African History Month, Black History Month. We, at the beginning of Black History Month, we introduced you to the founding father of Black History Month here in the UK. And as a result of this month, it's an opportunity for us to reflect on our history, our ancient civilization, where we went wrong, what we could learn from hindsight, to give us that foresight. You know, it's beautiful, beautiful. And I certainly look forward to another very, very insightful presentation today. So so we've got our brother Ldr Mbandaka. He's preparing the best he can to come forward. So let me just drop, okay. So I've got a message here to say that he is ready. Absolutely brilliant. So as soon as they log back on, I will be bringing them back forward. So how have you been, family? I had a great radio show today. Oh my days. Let me see my notes. Brother Mama dropped it hot on my radio show today. And also we had Brother Nwusi on the radio show today. And some of these times, I'm just going to let you know the sort of conversations that we have on my radio show. So while we're waiting for Ldr Mbandaka's camera to come on, let me just share with you a little bit about what we were talking about on my radio show earlier today. So first of all, in the segment where we had Brother Mama, he was telling us about the fact that as Africans, as we know, we populated the entire globe, and we've been going to where we were during ancient times. And oh yes, I can see Ldr Mbandaka. Yes, rise up, Ldr. How are you doing?
Tendai, can you hear me?
Tendai, I'm hearing you.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
If you tilt your camera a little bit, I mean, I'm just getting you up to there at the moment. That's better, okay. Getting better.
I'm just warning you, I have a rather psychotic laptop at the moment. So just in case it cops out. Oh, we'll just when I do the adjustment. It's very sensitive. Okay.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay.
Yes, it's got you more centered now. Yeah. Welcome, Ldr Mbandaka. As always, it's a privilege and an honor to have you on the Sista Shanice Show channel. Every time you come, you drop it hot. I'm telling the family, you just come with so much knowledge, wisdom, and you leave us feeling empowered, and definitely we are left feeling that we have a greater understanding of the topics that you share with us. So family, go back over the videos, check out the ones that Ldr Mbandaka has dropped here on this channel. You will not be disappointed. So how have you been, Ldr, since the last time we saw you?
Tendai, I'm richly blessed and giving thanks and praises. There have been some challenges on the family front with deaths and illnesses, etc. But we're pulling together as a family. We know that, life has its challenges, and, the greatest power on earth is the power of love.
Yes,
it's the power of love and the power of the united spirit of a family, the united spirit of a people. And, through that unity, we are pulling through as a family. I still have one cousin in Wolverhampton who's gravely ill.
Oh no.
I'm going to go and see him on the weekend. But apart from that, my beloved sister, we had a wonderful day today with the princesses in our family and the mothers. You know, they had a girly day.
Oh, lovely.
And on Umoja Day, Sunday gone, we had another family event, but this time it was for the whole family, another Black History Month event where my son, Shakara, did a presentation. They did cooking, dancing, all sorts of wonderful things that the children thoroughly enjoyed. So, you know, I'm full of the joys of all of that.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And family, for those of you who don't know Ldr Mbandaka's son, Shakara, check him out. He has his own channel as well. Another powerful young man in our community, walking in the footsteps and the powerful might of his father. Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
How are you, my beloved sister? And your king?
Well, as you see me, we're still above ground, so, you know, everything else is all right.
Yeah, leave out still, though. You're not on borrowed time.
Yeah.
Okay. You're above ground, my sister.
We're not above ground, so we're all right.
Absolutely, because you're a fighter.
I mean, I've not fight more for do. So I don't want underground too soon. But you know, I go when time come, can't stop it.
Absolutely.
When time come,
absolutely.
I hate that. So I'm doing the best I can with every day that I have, with every hour, with every minute that I have, my brother. So
that's what you do, Sister Shanice, and you do it so well. You do it marvelously well.
Well, I'm just spinning the plates and juggling, and you know, most of the things me do, me just I try and I do a thing and I got you, but you know.
And you're making you're punching hard, sis. You know, you're doing some damage to the beast. Trust me. You're doing a lot of damage to the beast.
I'll do some good work then.
at the same time, you are empowering the minds and souls of our people. What more can we ask for?
That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And you know, this platform, what I love about it is that, you know, it brings me, you know, in front of people like yourself, gives me the opportunity to have one-on-ones like yourself, you know, to present to the family. So I'm going to step now and allow you to just greet the family, welcome them in your wonderful spiritual way, and I'll be posting in the background when you're ready. Yes. Take yourself off mute so we can hear you. Rise up, rise up. Okay, family, from Ldr Mbandaka. I'll be back in a very short while.
Okay, tendai mwari mukuru kuru kudzai mudzimu mukuru tendai mwari regai mazwi andi notaura nepungwaze mumuyo mangu zinzikwe nemi mwari. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Jah of our creation. Mwari kumberera I Africa nga isumizele zitrayo nzwa imitero yedu isumuria yo itumuriako uyamoya komborere uyamoya musbene isumuria yo itumuriako tendai mwari Mwari Jah, God bless Africa. Lift up the name of Africa on high. Hear our humble prayers, O Mwari, O Jah. We, the family of Africa, we, this family of Africa. Come, Great Spirit, come. Come and bless us. Come, Great Spirit, come. Come and be with us. We, the family of Africa. We, this family of Africa. Tendai Mwari. Royal elders, queens and kings, princesses and princes of great Mama Africa. I bring greetings as always in the most precious, powerful and bountiful name of our motherland, Alkabulan, Mama Africa, in the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope, and prosperity for all African people upon the face of Mother Earth. Rumbidzo kuna mwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Giving thanks and praises, beloved brothers and sisters, to the divine forces of the universe, whom we praise through the names and the spirits of Mukuru, our great ancestors. Giving thanks and praises for this platform, and for our beloved sister, Sister Shanice, and her indomitable spirit as she stands firm in resistance and in the offensive against the enemy. She is a powerful sister, and we also hail our king brother, the king man who stands at her side and gives her strength. Brother Errol, we hail you as well. We give thanks and praises for the opportunity to address the gathering this evening under the subject, the truth about Black History Month. Now, I know we were given another topic, and we were hoping to organize a different discussion, hopefully with the son of Papa Garvey, Baba Julius Garvey, present to reason about the legacy, the rich and powerful legacy of his father. That didn't quite work out, but with Sister Shanice's agreement, I would like to engage us in a discussion, if I may, this evening, beloved brothers and sisters, on the truth about Black History Month. Yeah. Let me
yes,
get
indeed, and we look forward to that discussion.
Yeah. Now, let me qualify the relevance and the necessity of the subject matter this evening. It seems to be the case that every year we have yeah. We seem to have brothers and sisters expressing such views as, why do we allow them to give us 1 month to celebrate our history or to study our history? In America, oftentimes the comment that is made is that we allowed them to give us the shortest month of the year, which is February. The other comments that we get is, why does Black history have to be confined to 1 month? Black history should be 12 months of the year, 365 days of the year. And indeed, Black history belongs to every single day of the year. It's relevant to every single day of the year, and every day we should do something significant in rescuing and reconstructing our history that has been so attacked and so destroyed. So we don't have an argument where that is concerned. But to push this argument or push this point that we are confining Black History Month to 1 month suggests, with the utmost respect, that such a brother or a sister has not studied the history of Black History Month. In other words, the origin and evolution of Black History Month. Because if they did, they would not make such misguided comments that only serves to spread confusion. So I would like to humbly share with you, brothers and sisters, my knowledge as a result of diligent research and study that I, within the context of the Alkabulan Revivalist movement and our brilliant scholar, Brother Olatunji Heru, we are, I would like to share with you my knowledge and understanding of the truth about Black History Month. And I'm going to ask you, brothers and sisters, if you have not studied the history of Black History Month, please, after today, go and do the research and come back. Please do not continue to spread this false rumor because it's false. It's a misrepresentation. So, beloved brothers and sisters, the truth about Black History Month. This, of course, we are in the throes of Black History Month. We are celebrating Black History Month. And so it seems, are you seeing my screen, sister?
Yes, we are, leader.
Thank you very much. Naimari. We say, beloved brothers and sisters, that before there was any history, there was Black history. History, like everything else in human expression, in human intelligence, in human brilliance, started with the sons and daughters of Africa, evolved out of the powerful intellect of the sons and daughters of Africa, be it mathematics, be it language and communication, be it philosophy, theology, be it astrology, astronomy, be it science and technology, be it architecture. It all started with you and me, our ancestors, and the brilliance that enabled them to give those great legacies to the world is in our very DNA. It's still there, beloved brothers and sisters. We go to schools and we go to colleges and we go to universities that are designed to suppress our natural genius. So anywhere you find an African who's not projecting his or her natural genius, is simply because we've been miseducated. I hope to inspire us this evening to own and recognize our genius as Africans. Tap into that genius and start doing great things if we haven't started already. Here we have the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, chiming in on this discussion this evening. Papa Garvey have a word for every situation and every eventuality. This is the most brilliant African king that I know of to have walked the face of the earth. And he says a people without knowledge of their past, history, origin, and culture are like a tree without roots. What happens to a tree without roots? It withers and it dies. It withers and it dies. History, therefore, brothers and sisters, is, amongst other things, a lifeblood for a people's survival and prosperity. Papa Garvey says further, be as proud of your race today as your fathers and mothers were in the days of yore. Yore means ancient times. We have a beautiful history, and we shall create another in the future that will astonish the world. That's worth repeating, beloved. Be as proud of your race today as our fathers and mothers were in the days of yore. Our fathers and mothers walked the earth as kings and queens before invasion, conquest, and enslavement. They looked at themselves in the mirror and they saw nothing but beauty. They saw nothing but greatness. They saw nothing but divinity. And they harnessed all of that towards the building of great, fantastic civilizations. We have a beautiful history, and we shall create another in the future that will astonish the world. Papa Garvey wants us to know, so what we're dealing with at the moment is the value of history. The value of history. And Papa Garvey wants us to understand that we are still creating history. As we walk, as we talk, as we breathe, as we sing, as we make love to our loved ones, we are making history. As we sit our children and our grandchildren on our knees and sing African nursery rhymes to them, We are making history. History, beloved brothers and sisters, is past, present, continuous. History is not just suspended in the past. The past explains the present, and the present determines the future. The value of history, beloved brothers and sisters. Does anybody know who this handsome elder is?
Ooh.
Baba John Henry Clark. I used to love this elder so much because of his spirit. He had a glow about him. He had a warm spirit. And when you saw him with the children, it was just magical, the way he interacted and connected with the children. Of course, amongst other things, he is the author of numerous children's books. So you know our Baba did great work, not only in terms of preserving our history, but writing stories to inspire our children. Here he says, and this is one of the most powerful definitions of history that I have ever heard. He says, history is a clock that a people use to tell their own political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that they use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells a people where they have been and what they have been, where they are and what they are. But most importantly, history tells a people where they still must go and what they still must be. I want us to absorb that deep into our psyche, beloved brothers and sisters. History tells the people where they have been, what they have been, where they are, and what they are. But most importantly, history tells the people where they still must go and what they still must be. History is a guidepost, beloved brothers and sisters. In fact, I'll share a word sound again from Baba, Papa Omowale, Papa Marcus Messiah Garvey in a few moments, illuminating this concept of history. Then he says, the relationship between a people and their history is the same as the relationship between a mother and a child. Now listen to the metaphors that our elder is using. He's a teacher, so he understands the power of metaphors. History is a clock that the people use to tell their own political and cultural time of day. History, in other words, puts us in context with the realities of the time. It tells us what time it is, not the time by the material clock, but the time in terms of the circumstances of the time in which we live. History tells us where we have been, what we have done. It tells us all of that. But most importantly, it tells us where we still must go and what we still must be. And then the relationship, he talks about history being to the people like a mother to a child. History gives birth to generations of people. History gives birth to geniuses. History gives birth to innovations and ideas that enriches a people's civilization. And therefore, like a mother transmits her DNA, her deoxyribonucleic acid, to her child, which determines their genetic construction. So it is that history is coded with instructions for us as a people to be guided in the present and as we seek to shape the future. And I'm worried. Now we come to this other great man, all these great men, brothers and sisters. Now this is the man, if we're studying Black History Month, we must know who this man is. Carter G. Woodson, as we often call him. The G stands for Godwin. 1875 to 1950, the span of his life. This is the man who gave us what we call today Black History Month. He's a remarkable African in the sense that he's only the second African, so-called African American, second African in America after W.E.B. Du Bois to obtain a PhD degree from Harvard University. Harvard University, and that was in 1912, is the summit of America's citadel of learning. It's the highest seat of learning in the American educational system. This African genius was born 10 years after the abolition of slavery. His mother and father were enslaved Africans who could not read or write. Think about that for a moment, beloved brothers and sisters. And somehow, and he could not afford an education. He was self-educated. He went around looking through windows of schools and learning through memory. Sometimes he couldn't even afford a slate, and whatever it is that you write, what you call it, what you write with on a slate. But he had to commit a lot of his learning to memory. This brilliant man somehow did all of that and was able to go to college and university and successfully secure degrees and masters and a PhD as only the second African in the history of the United States of America in 1912. Where were African people in the United States of America in 1912? It's a measure of the brilliance. And we ain't saying that Harvard University is anything fantastic. We're saying the brilliance of this man was of such that he virtually walked off a plantation out of the home of mothers and fathers who could not read or write and therefore could not impart those academic skills to him. But he commandeered a process that enabled him to rise to the top of their educational system and tear it up. Well, this great man, beloved brothers and sisters, I want us to understand his journey. I'm going to take us through his journey, and there's a reason why I'm doing this, beloved. Remember I said in 1912, he gets his PhD. 1915, he founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History in Chicago, which was subsequently renamed in the 60s, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, 1915. So this association that he set up was for the study, the meticulous, and he was very meticulous in his study of African history. In fact, as a history professor, he was concerned that African history was not represented in the curriculum. European history was most celebrated, but so was Chinese history, even if it was to a lesser extent. Indian history, Arab history, Jewish history, no African history except slavery. And he decided to use his skills and his knowledge and his qualifications to break that open. Yes? And so he founded this association that was committed to daily, meticulous unearthing of and documenting of African history. So even though he founded Black History Month, clearly he was not a person, sorry, even though he founded Negro History Week subsequently, clearly he was not a person who was confined to focusing on African history for 1 week of the year. He was doing this every single day of his life. It was a life mission. Let's not get it twisted, beloved brothers and sisters. This is the truth. In 1916, Woodson began publication of the scholarly journal, the Negro History, the scholarly journal of Negro History. That was the name of the journal that he founded. So it was the journal of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which then later on again became the Journal of African American History. And it is said that this, I think it was a monthly journal, that since then it has not missed an edition. From then till now, it has not missed an edition.
Wow.
Tendai Moari. 1919, he published The Education of the Negro, where he was scathing in his analysis of the extent to which the highly educated Africans in America were alienated from their own culture and from their own people. He condemned that education that alienated our people who had skills and knowledge that we needed for the empowerment and for the liberation of our people. 1926, he founded Negro History Week to coincide primarily with the birthday of Frederick Douglass, which was the 14th of February. Brothers and sisters, please, if you were of the inclination to claim that they gave us the shortest month of the year, please be advised that they did not give us anything. This was Carter G. Woodson's vision. And he chose the Earth Day of Frederick Douglass because Frederick Douglass was amongst the leading abolitionists at the time, with a booming voice that everyone was forced to listen to. Apparently, he was just a powerful and awesome orator and a tireless activist against the system of enslavement and segregation and oppression of his people. Now, it is true to say, incidentally, that he also included the birthday of, what's his name? Lincoln, President Lincoln. But he made it clear, and that was only because of the misconception that Lincoln abolished slavery. But he made it clear that if both dates were split over 2 weeks, that the priority at all times must be given to the birthday of Baba Frederick Douglass. 1933, he published The Miseducation of the Negro. Again, another scathing assault on the system of academia and how it scrambles the brains of our so-called intellectuals who move away, who through their so-called education lose their ability to identify with their own people, with their own culture, with their own community. Frederick Douglass the powerful orator, as I said these words, beloved brothers, and he's a very inspirational writer and speaker. He is the one who said the words, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. And so he wants us to understand that the forces of oppression against our people will never, ever budge until we actively demand this. He goes on to say, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And I'm going to take the liberty of actually reading an excerpt from what was a much longer speech that he made in the month of Mosiah in the year 1857, where he slated the hypocritical celebration of 4th of July, Independence Day. He says, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are men and women, I'll throw that in, who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without the thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical. But it must be a struggle. In other words, it must be a fight. Power, he says, concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. And here the part that I find really, really inspiring. Here the part that I find really, really invigorating. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found out the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. And these will continue till they are resisted with either words or blows or both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. I want us to get a sense, beloved brothers and sisters, of the mindset of a Carter G. Woodson and why he did what he did and why he chose a Frederick Douglass to memorialize in the choosing of the date for Black History Month. Oh, sorry, Negro History Week, that subsequently became Black History Month. These were people who were radical in their thinking. These were activists. These were institution builders. These were system creators. They created systems so that we as a people, and institutions, so that we as a people can maneuver in our own interest. Now, and I'm really just skimming this, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm not going to be very long. I'm going to leave as much time for questions, answers, comments. Now we've moved to the revolutionary 60s, the Black Power era, the era of Black Power, the era of the civil rights movement, the era of the Black Panther Party, the era of the Nation of Islam, when the Nation of Islam was going through its transformative phase with Omar Wale Malcolm X as the genius who was effecting the transformation in the name and on behalf of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And here we see, beloved brothers and sisters, some of our greatest freedom fighters of the revolutionary 60s. We see the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, the father of the anti-colonial movements on the African continent. We see Papa Omowale Malcolm X, who was the leading light, the leading revolutionary light in its day in the United States of America. We have, beloved brothers and sisters, Walter Rodney, powerful from the Caribbean. And we had these connections. We had Obi Egbuma, whom, well, we have Kwame Ture, also from the Caribbean, but who went to America to live when he was about 13 or 14 years of age. Obi Egbuma, who founded the Black Power movement here in the UK, a Nigerian brother whom many of us just don't know his name. Yet he did tremendous work in the short time that he was an activist in this country and before he left. And his son is doing brilliant work in the United States of America. We have Maulana Karenga, again, from the United States of America. And of course, we have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights leader, brothers and sisters. But let's be clear. This man was no coward. This man, brothers and sisters, was not a pacifist. He did not believe in war. He did not believe in fighting. He did not believe in striking back, but he believed in turning an oppressive and wicked system upside down and inside out. That is not a pacifist. That is not a pacifist. He believed that if you cannot change the system through diplomacy, then you must do it through direct action. And that's what he did. Now, the relevance of the revolutionary 60s to the evolution of Black History Month is that it was during the wave of the Black liberation movement that Negro History Week was redefined and renamed first as Black History Week, because during the 60s we had discarded the name Negro. We decided we would not answer to a name any longer that had its roots in the Greco-Roman necro, which means dead. We discarded that name. And in doing so, we called it Black History Week. Then during the revolutionary 60s, we decided that a week was not sufficient even for and this is what Black History Month is about. It's not about collapsing the study of our history in 28 days or 29 days or 31 days. It is about intensifying our focus on Black history during this period of time, highlighting and celebrating our history, amplifying our history to the world, and also synchronizing our focus. And that's a powerful thing. When your culture, and that's what culture does, amongst other things, it synchronizes the consciousness and the activities of the people, meaning they have the same focus at the same time. When the Jews have Hanukkah, Jews all over the world have one single focus. When Muslims have Ramadan, Muslims all over the world have one thing. That's a powerful thing, beloved brothers and sisters. When we have Kwanzaa and Black History Month, Africans, 40 million Africans in the case of Kwanzaa or more, millions of Africans in the case of Black History Month, globally, are united in our focus. Africans in a particular nation are focused on celebrating their history. That is a powerful thing. So it's not designed to confine us to just studying our history in 1 month. That's a total misconception. And throughout the Revolutionary Sixties, we expanded it. Again, I said, we discarded the word Negro and we said Black History Week, and we decided to extend it to the rest of the month. In the United States of America, it was in February. Here in the UK, it's in October. And I will deal with why that is in a minute. We go back to Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson tells us, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one out for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. Think about that, beloved brothers and sisters. And Baba Carter G. Woodson says further, if a race has no history, if it has no worthwhile tradition, if it has no worthwhile tradition, it becomes a negligible factor, totally unimportant factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated.
Wow.
If a race has no history, if it has no worthwhile traditions, where are our traditions, beloved brothers and sisters, that connects us with our roots, our ancestry, our motherland? That's what tradition does, and that's why we must not let go of our traditions, our drums, our dances, our songs, our poems, our stories, all those our rituals and our ceremonies, our language, beloved languages, our names are all part and parcel of our tradition that links us, connects us perpetually with our roots. And Baba Carter G. Woodson is telling us here that if we have no history, no worthwhile tradition, we become a negligible factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger. We stand in danger of being exterminated. That's how valuable history is. Then we have Baba Achiaba Adaye Sebo. Now we're moving to Black History Month here in the UK, beloved brothers and sisters. I know Sister Shanice had Baba Achiaba Adaye Sebo on her show a few weeks ago.
Yes, I did.
And that was fantastic.
Thank you.
We have also had the blessing and the honor of hosting him on Africa Speaks with Alkabulan on Galaxy Radio, and before that on Voice of Africa Radio. He's a remarkable elder who has done a great deal of work here in the UK, in the United States of America, on the African continent for the benefit of African people. Black History Month was brought here in the UK, and you heard Baba Achiaba tell the story of a young prince, 6-year-old prince named Marcus, who was having some difficulties at school that left him feeling, left him with very low self-esteem, and left him feeling that he wanted to be white. And one night, as his mother was putting him to bed, he was tearful, and his mother asked him what was wrong. And his response was, Mommy, why can't I be white? And when she drilled down into those sentiments, she found that he was going through a hell of a time in school. She was distressed when she came into work the following day, as he told us. And then he decided something must be done. He was an activist of the Kwame Nkrumah Young Pioneers in revolutionary Ghana in the 1960s and 50s. And he also lived in America for a period of time and experienced the celebration of Black History Month. And he decided to organize to bring Black History Month here in the UK, working with other leading lights in our community, like Bernie Grant, like what's his name? Some names slip me at the moment, beloved brothers and sisters. I'll come back to that if I remember them. Two. So let us look at what the aims were. And the aims were to promote positive images and understanding of Africans and people of African descent, and to encourage the positive teaching and development of their history, culture, and struggle. That's the first aim. See, it wasn't to condense the study of Black history into 1 month. It was to inspire us to promote positive images and understanding of African people, encouraging positive teaching and development of our history, our culture, and our liberation fight. That's what it's about. And that's not a 1 month activity, that's a day-to-day activity. 2, to support African organizations and liberation movements housed in London. To support African organizations and liberation movements housed in London. So there was a liberation thrust to Baba Achiaba Adaye Sebo and co. organizing Black History Month here in the UK, bringing it to the UK in the year that they call the year of the African Jubilee, that encompassed the anniversary of 3 major events in African history, which was 150th anniversary of the abolition of slavery, the 100th, the centenary of the birth, so this is in 1987 to 1988, was referred to as the year of the African Jubilee. And the second event, the second commemorative focus was the centenary of Papa Garvey's birth. And then there was the 25th anniversary of the founding of the Organization for African Unity on the African continent. Now you may ask the question, why October and not February? 2 main reasons. October coincides with the autumn equinox in the Nile Valley on the African continent, a time of harvest. And the idea of going for October was, 1, to symbolize Africa as the breadbasket of the world. Number 2, it was considered that that was probably the best time to infuse Black History Month activities into school life, since February is usually, schools are usually preoccupied with exams and mock exams, etc., etc. So those are the 2 main reasons why they decided in this country to convene Black History Month in October rather than February. This is African agency at every stage. This is African agency that is, pushing and creating these transformative situations to inspire, to uplift, to mobilize, to galvanize our people, to empower our people. There are no Europeans involved in this process. There are no Asians involved in this process. And when I say this, I'm talking about the leadership. I'm talking about leading this thing, the brain work behind it. All of the speakers, the speakers who were brought over in that first Jubilee year, all of them were Africans. All of them were Africans. A lot of money was spent on speakers and musicians and concerts, and plenty of money was spent. Yeah. And it was projecting African talent, African knowledge, African history, African wisdom, African culture. We refer to Baba Achiaba Adaye Sebo as the father of Black History Month UK. We give him that honor and we hail him. Not much longer to go, beloved. Not much longer to go. We say, build a nation, beloved. Build a nation, build a race. People use their history to build upon what they've done in the past, the good and the great, to build on that. The errors, to correct the errors. But there must be a nation building focus. There must be a nation building focus. Beloved brothers and sisters, what you're looking at here was a flyer for the National African People's Parliament, a General People's Assembly. People empowered for self-determination, taking responsibility, effecting solutions, health and well-being, family and community, education, culture, self-determination, business and finance, etc. These are the aspects of our lives that we have to take complete control over. We have to organize. And if you remember the words of Baba John Henry Clark, the relationship of history to a people is like the relationship of a mother to a child. And we see an image of a mother bearing a nation in her womb. Look like she's about to give birth, beloved brothers and sisters. History births generations into existence. History births geniuses into existence if we understand what history means and how to value our history. Papa, in the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbidzo kuna mwariye Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. And I'm
worried. And I'm worried. Woo! And I'm worried. Thank you so much, Ldr Mbandaka. Another very, very informative presentation. Wow. There was so much in that. I've got lots of notes. Plus, there were lots of comments coming into the chat as well. So as soon as you've you've finished the presentation now, Ldr?
Yes, I am, my sister.
If you can X off of that, then please. Thank you so much. Let's go over to the chat for some comments. Wow. So
bear with me a moment, please, sis.
Okay. So to everyone that's been commenting in the chat, I want to thank you so much. Wow, I'm going to be bringing your comments, your questions, your thoughts and opinions into the conversation now. So if you have any questions, any points of view that you would like to share with us, now is the time, okay, for you to do that. So lots of comments. People are talking about...
is that good, sis?
Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Yes, we're back to the normal view so we can see you big screen now instead of the presentation. So thank you, everyone in the chat, for your comments. Kimani, welcome Kimani. It's an excellent presentation, Brother Ldr Mbandaka. Yes, and Kwame Oboje is in the house as well. And he's saying, Brother Ldr, Ashe.
Asheo.
Ashe, Kwame, Ashe, Ashe.
Asheo.
Rainfalling Sounds, welcome to the Sister Shanice Show channel. I don't think I've noticed that name before, so welcome. Let's see what the comments are here. It says, Black parents need to teach their children how to date, marriage for preservation of the Black family, and wealth transfer between Black people. Absolutely. Ldr, would you like to comment on that? Preservation.
Well, absolutely, because it is about the preservation of our people. It's about the preservation of our race. It's about the preservation of our nation. Build the nation, build the race. And building the nation and building the race has to be founded on the union between the African man and the African woman. What other foundation? What other foundation can it be founded on? Yeah, it has to be founded on the union of the African man and the African woman. And we have to create stable homes with proper guidance to our young people. And if we teach our young people our history and we raise our young people with that African liberation consciousness, I am confident that they would not look in anybody's backyard for a spouse, but their own people's backyard. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, thank you for that, Ldr Mbandaka. And of course, you know, the best way to teach our children is to lead by example, but that may not always be the case. And so, you know, if you are responsible maybe for the nurturing of a nephew, a niece, a grandnephew, a granddaughter, or, you know, other people's children, what age do you think is the appropriate age to start introducing the idea of race preservation? And how do you think, you know, some of the aunts and the uncles and the other carers maybe ought to be approaching the topic with our young people? Because as we know, they are so heavily bombarded and influenced by all of the externalities that are giving them images of coupling with partners who don't look like them. This has got to be countered. How would you suggest that we do that?
How do I suggest that we do what's this? Sorry.
Oh, right. How do you suggest that we actually talk to our young people about how do we talk to our young people about who they should be marrying? When do we start having those conversations with them?
You are so correct, my beloved sister, when you said we have to set the right examples. That has got to be the starting point. And then we create the kind of community dynamics that our children and young people can come to community centers where they share their lives with other African families, where we are jointly nurturing our children. There's also our Rites of Passage program. Traditionally, the Rites of Passage program is where we specifically guide our children on matters of relationship, marriage, sexual propriety. All of that is part and parcel of the Rites of Passage program, along with the requisite life skills. Yeah. So we have to reestablish our cultural institutions. Our children must go to events regularly in the community, meet other families regularly in the community, build relationships with other families in the community, grow up knowing each other. Traditionally, what happens is the parents will observe how the children get on, how this princess gets on with that prince. And they'll be doing some social engineering over the years, and the prince and princess would not have any idea that that social engineering is going on. but they just know that they're growing in love with each other. We don't fall in love, we grow in love. They know that they're growing in love with each other until the appointed time. So we've got to bring those dynamics back into our culture. And that's why Mbandaka G Woodson talks about people who have no history, who have no tradition, are doomed to be exterminated. It's our history, our culture, and the traditions that links us with our history and our culture that preserves us and enables us not only to survive, but to prosper. We lose our history, we lose our culture, we lose our tradition, and we are in a precarious position on this earth. We're going to lose our existence. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. And it's so important that we are reminded of why it is we need to hold on to our culture, our tradition, and our practices, because, you know, as was said in that quote, you know, failure to do that means that as a people we get exterminated.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, as the broader society tries to, or the dominant society tries to water down, you know, our culture, take our culture from us and adapt it, you know, we've got to realize that it's important to fight back against that and to hold on to everything dear to us. So important. Brother Leader, I was, you know, a thought came to me as you was talking there about the importance of rites of passage and our young people coming together. And I know you have Shamira, you know, on the first Sunday of every month. And that's also broadcasted online a lot of the time. And I was wondering, maybe if 1 month of the year could be dedicated to a kind of rites of passage discussion for young people, because sometimes it's easier for those young people to learn, you know, about, you know, growing up and, you know, coupling, etc., from, you know, a trainer's perspective, rather than maybe the parents or their aunties who's got to have the difficult conversations with them.
Yeah.
Well, something like that possible for consideration?
Yeah, I mean, our September Shumira is usually focused on our children. And we deal with a range of issues to do with our children. Sometimes the children will have prominent roles in leading the Shumira. And even delivering the message. And of course, what they deliver is based upon what the guidance and the teachings that we have given them. And so that is evidence of, you know, how they have been cultivated and how they have been guided. Yes. But we have, you know, a rites of passage program within our movement. We also had a rites of passage program that we rolled out in the community some years ago. We're not doing the wider community one now, but we have done it. Yeah. And we will get back to it, but we're just not doing it at the moment.
Okay, all right.
So
we'll look out for the September events then. Thank you. Okay, the messages are coming in. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Brother Kwame says, I agree with you, Brother Leader, that we must take our children to events and Imani Day schools. So yeah, Kwame agrees with you there. Mundele says, does Black History Month in the UKK still embody the spirit, ideals of his African founders, such as who founded Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson and Adesebo Kiaba? So the question in there is, does Black History Month in the UK still embody the spirit and the ideals of those founding fathers? What do you think?
Tendai Mwari, well, I hope that my presentation affirmed that very point, that it is a celebration of our founding mothers and fathers. It's a celebration of our history from ancient times to the present. It is a celebration of our great heroes and sheroes, those who have lived their lives and gave their lives so we could have a better life. It is a celebration of all of our scientists and inventors, everything that constitutes African history. Every African that has made a worthy contribution to the history and the empowerment of our people is worthy of being remembered. So that's what we do during Black History Month. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. And may I add that it's up to us, each and every one of us, to make this Black History Month, African History Month, what we want it to be. When I interviewed our elder, what he reminded me of is that, you know, that month of October is a month when the institutions, the organizations, the businesses are all required to open their doors to us and to have something on their program around Black History Month. But if we are not making the demands, if we are not, you know, going in there and checking out what they're actually doing, if we're not complaining if we don't think it's good enough, then they're just going to put on what they want or not put on anything at all. So it really is up to us to take the reins and to, you know, determine what's going to be on the agenda. At one time, the schools used to make quite a big effort around Black History Month. But, you know, from what I'm picking up from the feedback that I'm getting from, you know, some young people, it's as if the schools are not bothering anymore. You know, I asked a couple of my young grandnephews, you know, so what did you learn during Black History Month? But, you know, what was the focus? And it was like, oh, who the first Black footballer was and who the first Black cricketer was. I'm like, what? You know, it has just got from bad to worse. And we're the ones to blame. We've got to take responsibility for that month. It's an opportunity that's been presented to us. And you, yeah, right. You said it's an opportunity to reflect, to project, and to, you know, and then, you know, we
synchronize.
And to synchronize.
Synchronize.
Oh, yes, and the power of synchronization. That took me to something that we was discussing on my show today. We were talking about the vibrations and the grids around the planet, and how our ancestors used to tap in to those power grids and build, you know, all of their monuments and some of their great buildings according to, you know, those power grids. And the synchronization was there. And so, yes, leader, the power of synchronization, that's what happens on a Sunday when all our people go to church and pray, you know, on a white Jesus. We don't realize we're empowering our oppressors. We're giving all of our energy and sending all of our vibration to lift up, you know, this Christ that don't look like us, never done anything for us and never will.
Absolutely.
We're giving away our powers.
Absolutely.
And those powers, we was learning today on the show, was what they used to call black magic. Because when we came together and we channeled our energy in synchronization, the power that comes from that. So we have to be careful what we give our energy to. So
absolutely.
Like you said, we've got to give our energy to Black History Month. We've got to bring these heroes and sheroes alive.
Absolutely.
It's time to wake up those heroes. It's
absolutely.
a time to wake up the history, you know, of our great ancestors.
And the starting point has got to be proper study of the history, the origin and the evolution of Black History Month. Otherwise, we're going to be insulting the efforts of Baba Carter G. Woodson. That's what we do when we say, why are they confining us to what? No, they are not confining us to anything. It was an African visionary who stepped forward and pronounced on Negro History Week. It was Africans that in a revolutionary period where we were redefining everything for the better, that said, let's change this from Negro History Week to Black History Month, right? It was African. It was an African who led the introduction of Black History Month into the UK. Nothing to do with nobody else but us. To study the history properly, own and claim Black History Month and make it dynamic, make it powerful. Yeah, Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, absolutely. And who is it in the chat that said, oh, Brother Kwame is saying, Hotep, Brother Kwame, I didn't even know about Baba Adesebo until now. Wow, wow, wow. We've got to keep, you know, this is it. He made history in this country by introducing Black History Month here. And his name deserves, you know, the recognition. He deserves to get the recognition for that. We've got Kwame Ossi in the house as well.
Can I just quickly say, sorry to interrupt you, Sister
No
Shanice.
problem.
Can I just quickly say that another name that should be much better known is the one I mentioned earlier on, Baba Obi Egbuma. That's another name that should, because he was the one who founded the Black History Movement, the Black Power Movement. Sorry, not the Black History Movement, but the Black Power Movement here in the UK. He was the leading light in all this. And what I love about this piece of information and the information concerning Baba Achiaba is that they're from the motherland.
Yes.
They are from the motherland.
Yes.
And sometimes we can underrepresent the contributions of our people from the motherland to our liberation fight here in the UK. And there are plenty of them to know about. Yeah? Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, that synchronization again, you know, between
Absolutely.
those of us from the motherland.
Absolutely.
And those of us here. Wonderful, wonderful. Kwame Oboje says he's totally agreeing with Kwame. Oh dear, that our African History Month shouldn't only be about singing, painting, and stories, but what Africans did and how we shaped the world. Because there are many who don't realize, you know, that Africans were the founding fathers of civilization. You know, all of what you said, that fantastic list that you gave out there, you know, prior to Africans, you know, there was no science, no astronomy, astrologists, and, you know, and that wonderful list. We invented all that there is, and they are still trying to fathom out, you know, the greatness of us as a people. Our children need to know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my sister.
So let's see what, Sister Afrijamo in the house. Rise up, Sister Afrijamo. She says, we must teach our children from young that it is important to stick to the African race when choosing a partner. Underline the importance of preserving a great melanin powerful race. Absolutely agree with that.
Word, sound, and power.
Mr. K, rise up, commenting in response to something that Kwame also said. And he said that's because of corporate institutions that co-opt the public narrative of how history, I suppose, also be portrayed to the public. And so they're playing down African History Month. But as I said, it's up to us to boost it up. We can't sit back and complain because we don't like what they're putting on. We've got to be in there demanding and, you know, and letting them know what our expectations are.
We should be either involved, sorry to interrupt, Sister Shanice, we should be either actively involved in organizing events and activities in our families, in our homes, in our families, as well as in the community.
Yes.
Alternatively, if we're not involved in the organizing, be sure that we are involved in supporting, attending, being there, and ensuring that every event that is organized by well-thinking Africans is successful. Yeah, that's what we should do. Make sure that we support every event that's put on in our community. Those people who are working with very limited resources, but because of their conviction, they are organizing these events, and they're organizing it for us. We need to come out and help to make these events successful. Absolutely.
We certainly do need to agree with you on that, leader. I mean, at one time it's been talked about that we come out for our international guests in our thousands, you know, but we failed to come out for our locals who are doing great works, but are unable to sustain those works without our support. Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Our brother Robin Walker is getting some big ups in the chat. It said that he should be a household name in every Black household. Yes, I've got the book, you know, When We Ruled, and a phenomenal book. It is indeed packed with a lot of our history. Let me scroll up and see what we've got in
That's my favorite historian, by the way, Brother Robin Walker.
Okay, if you know
my
him,
favorite
try and
historian.
get him grace the Sister Shanice show platform. I haven't been able to get in yet.
I'm sure you will, sis. But when I do see him, again, I'll put a word in.
Yes, yes. Tell him we
He's
would
usually
love
willing.
him. Tell him we would love him to present on the platform.
Okay.
So thank you so much for that. I feel embarrassed, I've got all these wonderful historians coming from across the pond, on the platform, and I can't get our own. So I need some help there.
Well, I will put a word in when I do. I don't see him on a regular basis. But
yeah, good.
We have a good
to be
rapport.
A household name, and he's doing great works, and he doesn't need my platform really, but I'd love to have him on the platform anyway.
No, sis, we all need each other.
For real.
On a myriad of levels. Yeah. We need each other. We always need each other.
For real.
So
absolutely.
Iron sharpeneth iron.
Ashe. Okay, let's scroll up and actually, if I can go to my notes and bring in some of the comments maybe that I had in here. And there was a comment earlier up by MLK. By Amin Man, who was saying that Martin Luther King was an integrationist. And as we know, integrationism is the illusion of inclusion. Can you say something on that for us, please, Ldr Mbandaka, vis-a-vis, the vision of Malcolm X, of Marcus Messiah Garvey, who wasn't for integration, he was for separation. And these are kind of positions that kind of tug our energy from one direction to the other in our meetings, in our efforts to move forward sometimes, because in the same room, we can have the integrationists who want to integrate within society, who want to, work their way up into the higher echelons of today's kind of systems and structures that exist. And then you've got another group in the same room who want to set up their own, feel it's important that we as Africans have our own institutions, our own organizations, set up our own everything. And so sometimes some of us don't realize that one of the reasons why maybe we find it difficult to move forward is because we have these different perspectives and different outlooks and different approaches to the way things could be done. We might want the same goal and the same outcome, but the approach is different. So I wonder if you can enlighten us a bit about those different positions that even some of our leaders held, so that we're more aware when we sit around the table who we're talking to. An integrationist. A separatist. A Pan-Africanist.
I can understand why some people would interpret the legacy or interpret Martin Luther King as an integrationist. I want to suggest he was much more than that, far more complex than just being an integrationist. He was a social scientist, and he was using a particular method. He was using a particular method to expose the moral bankruptcy of the American establishment. But I want to encourage my beloved brothers and sisters to go and study Martin Luther King from 1965 until his assassination. And I promise you that what you will see is evidence of a transformation that was taking place in his philosophy. He, for example, on one occasion said, "Yes, I believe in integration, but I do not want to be integrated out of power." Another statement he makes is there are times when separation is, and I'm paraphrasing here, when separation is an appropriate way station towards integration. He's using words, in a very, He's using words in a very complex way to say to our people, clearly these people don't want us. Clearly they've closed, they've slammed the door in our faces. I am a Christian minister. I have to present the integrationist face. But I realize that they don't want us in their institutions. And therefore, we may find ourselves left with no other alternative. And in fact, we will have no other alternative. Go and see his speech. I've been to the mountaintop. Take your time and read that speech. And tell me if you don't see clear examples. You don't see Martin Luther King calling upon our people to establish our own banking institutions, our own insurance institutions, our own businesses, that if these people continue to brutalize us, slam the door in our faces, we have no other choice but to go. And you see, when usually with the mountaintop speech, the only thing they show us is, I've been to the mountaintop and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promise. And they collapse the whole speech. This is a whole speech. Go and download the speech and read every word in that speech. And you will see that he was projecting towards a separatist agenda. He was, directing us to a separatist agenda, which was inevitable. A good book is Malcolm, I'm trying to remember the name of the book, Malcolm and Martin. Can you be with me 1 second, sis?
Yes, no problem.
Let me get it from a bookshelf.
Yes, go ahead.
1 second.
Rise Up Family, as a leader goes to his bookshelf to get that book. I just want to remind those of you who have just joined us that in the chat, I've actually posted a link to the Galaxy Alfiri radio station. And I've also told you when the Alkabulan Revivalist Movement radio shows are. They're on a Monday at 7 p.m. The link is there. Also, you can catch myself on galaxyalfiri.net radio on a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on alternate Saturdays, the same time. The links are in the chat. We look forward to some of you from here joining us and interacting with us on our shows. We have phone-ins, so you can actually call or Skype in to the shows as well. And Ldr Mbandaka on a Monday always has a phenomenal program. He's got a team, a great team around him. And, they bounce off of each other. Like he says, iron sharpeneth iron. And you have some man them that come together and them just sharp like razor. Me I tell you, hey, that's on a Monday, 7 p.m. and the link's in the chat. Rise up, leader.
This is an excellent book. Yeah. Martin and Malcolm and America by James Cone. James Cone was a reverend. He was a what do you call it? I think I'm having a senior moment.
It's okay. Spell the surname for us.
C-O-N-E.
Okay, Cone.
Yeah, James H. Cone.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives us a brilliant analysis of the legacy of Martin Luther King, Omowale Malcolm X, and as they evolved, how they came closer and closer to each other.
Yeah.
And he demonstrates where clearly Martin Luther King was moving towards a more separatist philosophy.
He was, yes.
He demonstrates that very, very clearly. And I remember one quote where he said, where he really condemned what he called the white moderates, whom he said was more dangerous to the destiny of Black people than the white supremacist Ku Klux Klan.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
or the
was
white.
he the one who said that? Yes, the white liberals.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So he was scathing on the white liberals because he had experiences with the white liberals where he recognized their contradiction and their downright hypocrisy. And he was a genuine, sincere soul. And he realized that there was that the avenues to integration were not realistic. Yeah. And that we as a people had a right to build things for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
And there was another famous quote that was mentioned of his that was mentioned in the chat a little earlier. Like he said, as he evolved and he realized, that, the white society wasn't going to change. It wasn't going to be opening up its doors to integration, what have you, and we would have to go down the separatist road. And it got to a point where he said, I realized that I've been leading my people into a burning house. Something along those lines. And that's like, wow. Yeah. That was a turning point, wasn't it? That was the turning point in his life. He realized at some point that he was leading his people into a burning house. Imagine. Wow, wow, wow. The pain of that realization after so many years of hard work.
Yeah, that was Harry Belafonte who shared that. That when after they had signed the civil rights Declaration of Civil Rights, after they had signed that, that he had a quiet moment with Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King said those words to him, that he feels that he's integrating his people into a burning house. You know?
Wow.
And that's powerful.
Yes.
That is powerful. So it's far more complex than just to be defined as an integrationist.
Far
more complex than that.
As you said, from all your reading of him, he was a genuine soul.
Absolutely.
His heart was for the people. And to think,
100%.
That all those people, hundreds of thousands of them, had put their trust in him. And then for him to actually say that I've come to the realization that, I've been leading my people into a burning house. It's like the pain of that must be unimaginable.
And that's a blight on integrationism.
Yes.
That is a clear blight on integrationism. That is saying that metaphor is saying that integrationism is a trap. Is a trap.
Yes.
It's a deadly trap.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying there.
Yeah.
And
so isn't that what we've been experiencing since the 60s? We had the 60s when we had our great revolutionary freedom fighters who were on the road to independence, but obviously they didn't get full independence. They just got a flag and the opportunity to sit at the helm of their country for a short while until they were assassinated or overtaken by a coup. So that's really the independence that they got, because the former colonialists continued to pull all of the strings through the organizations and institutions that they left behind that were never ever dismantled. So these are like the firehouses, those institutions, those organizations, and the systems that we are using today that is controlled by the countries of the former colonizers is what is hampering our growth and progress until today, 60 years on. And we're still using those antiquated colonial systems that never worked then, don't work now, and isn't going to work in the future. So, utilizing their legal systems, their economic systems, their military systems, educational systems, their health systems, etc. These are the burning houses. This is what's killing us.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, these systems are designed to promote and preserve their interest. Historically, they have reduced us to hewers of wood and drawers of water, to work from sun up to sundown for their enrichment, for their comfort, for their convenience. Their systems rely on us assuming an inferior status and accepting an inferior status to them. And their systems are designed to produce supremacy for them and inferiority for us. This is what we have to understand. And so Papa Garvey says, any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. And how can we adopt the educational system of our oppressor? What kind of education is he going to give our children? How can we adopt their economic system? What else is it going to do for us? But to
cripple our economies.
Exactly.
And ensure that we don't rise, and then we wonder why we can't rise as a nation.
Absolutely.
They're devaluing our currency because they have the control over our currency. They determine when our notes are going to be printed because they have control over printing, our papers. They, control the financial institutions that we put all of our money into. How can, as you say, we as a nation rise when, the powers that be outside of ourselves are controlling our economy? How can, the greatness, the former greatness and the heights of our ancestors be achieved by our children? As you say, well, we're going to educational institutions that have got a Eurocentric curriculum that teaches us nothing about our great civilizations and the wealth of a contribution that we made to society. We, until we break the shackles of those colonial chains that still exist today, and as difficult as it is for some, move down the road of independence, total independence, I don't know how things are going to change. I don't see any change. I mean, do you, leader?
Tendai Mwari, the change has to come from us, sis.
Sure.
The change has to come from us, and it has to come from within. If we don't change our mindset, and in changing our mindset, change our priorities. Our priority must be to organize for nation building. It has got to be, there is no other way. That's what Papa Garvey demonstrated to us. That's the black print. And the spirit of Papa Garvey is waiting. He continues to instruct us with his words. He continues to instruct us with his legacy. We've got philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. We've got message to the people. We've got African fundamentalism. We've got Garvey and Garveyism, which his wife diligently put together. Philosophy and opinions 1, 2, and 3. Papa Garvey said, future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. Right? That was his written work that he had asked his wife, Mama Amy Jakes Garvey, to put into a book form. I intend with your help and God's grace to continue, he says, for my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands a guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. Yeah? So we have got to understand, beloved brothers and sisters, there is work to do. And we have the template. We need to pick it up and apply it in the present. There's got to be the action. The talk, the discussions have to be qualified by our actions. It is in the doing that we effect change, not in the saying. In the doing, we transform. In the saying, we transform our thinking, which is a necessary precursor for action. But it's in the doing, it's in the action that we change our material conditions. We don't change. When we finish this show, beloved sisters and brothers, nothing would have changed. We may have raised our consciousness. We may have been transformed in our thinking. But if that transformation is not manifested in our actions, then we will not change our material condition. We will not change our material condition. And I'm waiting now to see our people feverishly come forward and say, well, how, when, where do we begin? How do we begin? When do we begin to get this thing on the road? Because there is no other way, right? We are sending our children to pray on the wisdom of Martin Luther King Jr. We are sending our children into a burning house. The schools, the colleges, the universities, right? I'm not saying that we mustn't send them there, but better yet, if we can organize and build our own schools. And that's not going to happen unless we have a nation building agenda, because all education occurs in the context of nation building. All education. If we want a comprehensive education program, when I say comprehensive, I mean you know, a whole and complete and effective education program for our children. It has to be grounded in nation building. And as Baba John Henry Clark, we quoted him earlier on, has said, whatever we do in the name of liberation, if it does not include nation building, we are wasting our time. Whatever we do in the name of liberation, if it does not include nation building, we are wasting our time.
Wow.
There is not a government in the African world today that we can turn to and say, that is the government we can follow. That is the government that is you know, trying to preserve and protect our interests. There's not one on the African continent today. There's not one in the Caribbean today. Not one. If there is one, I don't know of it. Yeah? And so if that does not exist, then we as Africans, everywhere we are, must organize systems of self-governance. We have to put systems of self-governance in place. The people that we trust with the integrity and the skills are the people that we mandate to provide executive leadership for us. And then we build institutions. We build institutions that will address every aspect of our lives. That is how we have to think. That's what we have to commit ourselves to. That's the agenda that we have to commit ourselves to. Then every word we speak, Sister Shanice, every word we speak will multiply in its power because we follow it up with action. That's what made Papa Garvey so powerful. The man, the vision, the plan. The man and his integrity and his tirelessness and his mission, the vision, the far-reaching vision, and then the plan to make the vision materialize. Tendai Mari.
Tendai Mari. Wow, wow, wow. And you know, it's someone in the chat here is complimenting what you were saying there about the importance of waking up the mind, you know, transforming our minds and understanding that it's a process of self-empowerment and you know, that's a process that we have to go through. So Rise Up Power Inc. For that. I also want to rise up. Where's that message that I saw? Mello says, greetings, sister. Keep up the works, keep the fire blazing. I am at my roadside farm produce stall here in California, and I have the show live on my Bluetooth speaker, blazing the message to the world. Wow, rise up, Mello. Wow, Ldr Mbandaka, your message is being blasted on the roadside in California. I hope you attract a great audience and get plenty of sales, Mello. Thank you so much for that. Do you want to rise up, Mello?
Oh yes, is that a sister? Sister Mello? Or a brother?
It doesn't say. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, brother or sister Mello, big up yourself. Yes. We wish you every success in your endeavors because your success is our success.
Ashe.
Yeah. Your achievements are our achievements. When you rise, we rise. So we have a vested interest in seeing and in praying and meditating for your success, your absolute success. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Power Inc. says, I'm working on it. I'm in the streets, pushing knowledge, power, encouraging our people to wake up. Black first, transformation, self-knowledge, protect each other, unite with each other. The power, get a 1B1 t-shirt to show unity. Rise up, power IMC, Power Inc. in the house. This is it. You know, as Leader was saying, it's one thing to get all of the knowledge and information, but if you're not then, you know, putting that into action, then there will be no change. Power Inc. is out there putting the words into action. And even if, as you know, we were to do like Mello is doing, just putting the radio or the show in a space where others can hear it, so that they can get the knowledge and get the information and then act on it. You know, absolutely fantastic. So we've all got a job to do, each and every one of us. We've all come here with a purpose, and that was being reinforced in a discussion I was having earlier on our show as well. And it was talking about, you know, our DNA, how, you know, there's vibration in everything. Even in the stones, there's vibrations in the stones, in the minerals, you know, in the flora, in the insect world, the animal world. We are energy and vibration as well. But everything around us is about energy and vibration. And that energy and vibration goes right into the cell, to a cellular level, you know, and in there, at the cellular level in the DNA is coded our purpose, and why it's so important to be in tuned, you know, vibrationally, you know, to the cosmos, to what's happening on the planet and the earthly realm as well, to get that knowledge of our purpose. It was powerful. You know, I'm going to have to try and get the information up. Actually, the brother said he'd be happy to come and talk and share more of that knowledge with us. It was around what they call it, the geometric science that the ancient world had knowledge of, that the people in the powers that be in this world today are only recently becoming aware of. So Ldr Mbandaka, as always, absolutely fantastic presentation. We're 9 minutes away from the top of the hour. So family, if you haven't already clicked the like button, please do. And after this show, please share the link as well, so others can acquire the wealth of knowledge and information that our brother has shared with us. The importance of our history. You outlined that for us so beautifully and eloquently, as you do with everything that you bring to us, Brother Ldr. We all say history is important, but to know why it's important is another level. And you just laid that out for us today, why our history and African History Month is so important. Thank you so much as well for celebrating Carter G. Woodson and Frederick Douglass. You know, I didn't know the story of was it Carter G. Woodson, the one that didn't go to school, but yet, wow,
he had very little schooling.
Right, but look at what he managed to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John Henry Clark as well, another one who was just, you know, such a great historian. Mm-hmm. And when you think of their time that they were in as well, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have access to the sort of information that we have access to now. But look at the knowledge and the level of information that they were able to, you know, put together in those really important books for us. So I knew you was going to do Carter G. Woodson, so I've got my book here, you know, which is still as relevant today as it was when he wrote it back in 1933, you know, and there's so many gems in here, but because of time, I'm not going to, you know, pull those gems right now. I'm going to go over to you, my brother Ldr, and give you an opportunity to give us some closing remarks, please, Ldr.
Tendai Mwari, Rumbidzo Kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Beloved brothers and sisters, it would be great to see you all at our next Shumira, which will be not this Umoja Day Sunday coming, but the following Umoja Day. And it will be from 12 to 4 at the Chestnut Community Center, which is St. Anne's Road, Tottenham N. I'm trying to remember if it's N15 or N17, but right, it's either N15 or N17, brothers and sisters. If you go online, you'll get the full address. And so we hope to see you there, beloved brothers and sisters, because that whole issue of synchronizing, that synchronicity that we need, our Shemira is partly about that, molding that united focus and that united consciousness amongst our people, grounded in our spiritual and cultural traditions. That's what it is about, beloved brothers and sisters. I hope that we manage to, for those who may have been a bit foggy about the history of Black History Month, I hope we've cleared that up, because I'm hoping that we are going to eliminate this misconception, this misinformation that keeps going around. I would like to see and hear the back of it completely, because it has nothing to do with the origin and evolution of Black History Month, and we are insulting some of our best revolutionaries, including Baba Carter G. Woodson, when we spout this misinformation. So it needs to stop. Go and study for yourself, beloved brothers and sisters, and you will confirm everything that you heard on this show this evening. Very quickly, let me introduce to you a concept that helps us in our, what we call coming into consciousness. We recognize 5 stages of consciousness. The first stage is information. So the information giving is extremely important. Yeah? You know, people say, oh, we need to stop the talking. I don't agree with that. There's not enough talking about the right things. We talk a lot of foolishness sometimes, yeah, but there is not enough talking on the right things. So the information, and then there's internalization. If we just gather the information, but we don't internalize the meaning, we don't internalize the essence of it, then the information is wasted. Then when we internalize it, we go to the third stage, transformation. We have to internalize the information for it to effect a transformation in our consciousness, in our behavior. And then we have proclamation. We proclaim what we have come to know. We proclaim what we have, the consciousness that we have gained through transformation. And then we have ultimately manifestation. That's the fifth. Manifestation. If we don't manifest what we have, what we come to know through information, internalization, transformation, proclamation, we don't manifest what we proclaim, then we have wasted that. We have wasted great opportunities. It is in the doing, not in the saying, that we make change. In the saying, we effect transformation in the mind, in the consciousness. In the doing, we effect change in our material conditions. That's what I want to leave with our beloved family this evening, with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who says, unite, organize now. Organize now. And when we talk about action, we're talking about collective action, not just individual action. Individual action is important, but without the collective, without the synchronicity, without the synergy, yeah, we are producing less powerfully than we can. Through synergy, it means that the sum total of your effort and my effort is much greater than our individual separate efforts. The sum total of our collective effort is much greater than our individual pursuits. Rise, you mighty people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbidzo Kunamwari Africa To the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Ashe, Ashe,
Asheo.
Asheo. Thank you so, so much, Ldr Mbandaka, for another very inspirational and deeply insightful presentation. But as you said, it will all be meaningless if we don't act. So family, you've got your homework from today's show. You need to download the Martin Luther King speech, the mountaintop speech, and read it for yourself. So that's a piece of homework for you. And you also need to manifest something as well. You need to bring forth the manifestation of some aspect of what you have, learned today. So be it some of the information that you take and you share so that others can be enlightened and then can internalize the information and bring it into effect. Even by sharing information, that is power in itself, because the more people are informed, the more enlightened they will become. The more enlightened they become, the greater the chances are that they will see what action needs to be taken and then take that action. But if they're in darkness and they don't see the need for change, then they are not going to be effecting change and be party to bringing about the change that's needed. Wow. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, I look forward to you regracing the platform. Check out Brother Ldr Mbandaka's series on politics and politricks. It's been absolutely phenomenal. As you know, I was behind the scenes, we was trying to get our brother Julius Garvey, the son of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, on the show today. That wasn't possible because, he's just been worn out over the last few days by the events that has been on. But so we're giving him a month, and we're hoping that he'll give me a date within the next month or so, and I'll be calling on you to share that platform with him, because I don't think I know of any other organization in the UK that has been more formidable and forthright in promoting the works of Marcus Mosiah Garvey than the Alkabulan Revivalist movement. I think you even had a Marcus Garvey month or a
Mosiah month. We call it Mosiah month.
For years, for decades, decades. Your organization has been championing the great works of Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Absolutely.
So if there is one organization in the entire country, that can speak of the great nation-building works and the testimony of the greatness of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and who has done the works to make sure that that name, is known to all of us in the community. It's the Alkabulan Revivalist movement. So certainly we'll be continuing to try and follow through on that.
Tendai Mwari, just to let our viewers know that if they don't know, that Baba Julius is nearly 90, he'll be 90 next year. So he's not a spring chicken. So although he's quite an active 90 or 89, like my mother, give thanks and praises. But we have to be sympathetic.
Yes, yes, he was worn out by, they put on a dinner for him, book signing events, a community event, all packed within about 4 days. And he's traveling tomorrow. And so, yes, he's worn out. But
right.
We're giving him time to rest, and then we hope that he will come back with us. Our audience is thanking you. Our audience is clapping you. Our audience is showing you much appreciation, love, my brother Ldr Mbandaka, for today's presentation. By the way, will your Shamira be live screened? Because we have viewers from, Uganda, California, Ghana, all different parts of the world who obviously won't be able to make it physically, but may want to log in. Is there an online stream?
We have done so. In fact, throughout the pandemic, we were online, as you may recall.
Yeah.
And since we've gone back into the community, we've had 1 or 2 of our shemiras where we have live stream, which we have live stream. When we honored Baba Reverend Huey Andrew. We live streamed that. Yeah. And there was one or two others that we had live stream. I'm not sure if that is the plan for this Shemira, but I would make internal inquiries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if it is the case, please do drop the link in the chat next strong, or at least before your show.
Okay.
So, thank you again, Ldr Mbandaka.
Oh, bless you, my sister.
Your wonderful family as well.
Will do.
Your queen, Sister Kai, we rise her up.
Rise her up.
Children, your grandchildren, for helping you to be the man that you are.
Bless.
Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Please give us a thumbs up on the way out, and also kindly leave a comment in the description underneath the video once you've come out of the chat. Thank you all so much. Ldr Mbandaka, more love, more strength, more voodoo. And to everybody in the chat, more voodoo. I will see you next strong. Sister Shanice, out of here for now. Bye for now.